Yeah.
Very good.
That's all right. We all set now? All right, so I'll call this executive committee work session to order and ask that Representative Bolton lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, just before we begin, in a moment of personal privilege, Representative Sullivan, did that have a moment of our attention?
Thank you, and I appreciate everybody's attention. Of course, we all remember Homer, and I just wanted to bring it up at least once, and that, you know, his passing in, about a month ago, I guess, a couple months at this point. And, we know how much he had passion for the county and county farm, and also, you know, as far as politics and that part of it as well. So, I mean, here's the Homer, just a memory, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Okay. Yes. Okay. Have a seat.
You.
And then I have a 30-second spiel for you.
Okay.
So one of the things I'd like to do that we didn't do as carefully as I would have liked last time was, if you call out the, if you're bringing something to our particular attention, if you would verbalize the line that you're looking at. So that not only we, but if there's people online, they can, if they have a copy of the book, they can look through. And finally, we really only need to bring to our attention those things which are stand out that are different. Maybe they're more, maybe they're less, but we don't need to hear that there's a $50 increase in this particular line item. Okay, all right, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have at it.
Okay. So my name is Heather Bryant. I am a food and agriculture field specialist and the county office administrator for UNH Cooperative Extension. And we are on page 27 of your expense booklet. I wanted to introduce some colleagues that I brought along behind me here. This is Paul Carantona, our county operations manager.
Howdy y'all, how's it going?
Great.
Good morning. I feel like Heather's about to introduce Maldini here for a second, but I'm gonna jump in and actually do it for a sec. Always a pleasure to come in here. I was last year with commissioners, but then I think I was with this group last year as well, so pleasure to see you all. When I get a chance to come up from Durham, I support Heather and her counterparts across the state, so I always have to take an opportunity when I'm available. I also happen to have a summer intern this year, and we have less and less, fewer and fewer actually delegation meetings that are coming up in the community meetings. So I was like, want to get up at 5:30 and come out to Grafton?
This place is beautiful.
Yes. So thank you very much for having us. But that's why I'm here to support Heather, but also to have Maldini see, you know, the process and action as we go through.
I'm
So
sure
thank
you did very well getting up at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have to slap myself away.
I'll say, I told him, I'll text you, make sure you're up, and I'll call you if I don't hear from you, but I got a text right back, so he was up. So,
Well, welcome to Grafton County.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. So I'm going to pass around, we did up a very brief highlights of the things we accomplished in 2025. We cannot put everything that we do on one piece of paper. So these are just sort of the things we're most proud of. And then you should have all gotten in the mail a copy of this magazine. You did. Okay, great. We have a couple of extra copies in case anybody didn't get it. You can feel free to take one. Okay. So, as you probably know, the bulk of our extension budget goes to salaries of our staff. So we have two county staff who are our two administrative assistants, and they are 100% funded through the county. And then we have 5 professional staff. We have a program manager who runs our 4-H program. 75% of her salary is covered by the county. And then we have 4 field specialists, such as myself, and the county pays for 25% of our salaries. So obviously, as for all the reasons you all already know, there are some increases in those lines because of increases in health insurance and salary, cost of living.
We asking questions as we go along,
Um,
or we just,
if you are worried about, not remembering, feel
No.
free to jump in, but otherwise we'll wait till the end.
okay.
Well, it would be me, I would go. Write that down. Go ahead.
And then our extension operations line, which ends 690, that is travel and supplies. And that number, along with our professional staff salary number, went up by 2.6% this year, which is tied to the CPI. Based on a memorandum of understanding between the county and extension. And then the other thing to note, we eliminated our new equipment line this year, as a way to try to save costs. So those are, and the new equipment line, sorry, that was, ending 970. Those are the highlights from my perspective, but what questions do you all have?
Representative Self.
If I may, thank you. So let's start with the new equipment line for 1 second. I mean, you said you eliminated, which is good. On my document here, it says you're the department and they used to request it. So I just want to point that out. Maybe that was just a typo or something that just got missed. But as far as employees, so I see we've gone up, well, not very much, 3.5% or 2.6% on salaries and stuff. My question is that just the portion the county pays, or is that the overall portion and then, 25% here, 75% there?
And are you talking about professional staff?
I'm saying staff, support, and professional.
Okay, so the salaries of the support staff went up by the cost of living that I believe the commissioners voted on. Separately, the salary for professional staff, the line that ends 009, that went up by 2.6%.
Right.
And one thing that is a little bit confusing about that line, obviously newer career people come in at a lower salary rate than people who've been here for 20 years. And so to sort of moderate that so that counties aren't seeing wide swings when somebody retires and somebody new comes in, back when this MOU that I mentioned was first agreed upon between UNH and the counties, they came up with an estimate of the average cost of a field specialist. And that average cost was split 25% county, 75% UNH. And then that number goes up by the CPI every year. So I realize that's a little bit complicated, but that's how we keep from getting wide swings in the budget when people retire and new people come in.
If I may.
You may follow up.
Thank you. So trying to, 2 things here. One is professional staff, how many people is that?
That's 5 people.
5 people, okay. And the increase that we're seeing here, it's the overall increase, but then the county pays 75% and we get 25% someplace else.
No, so
What
we
am I
have,
missing?
of the 5 people, we
I
have,
just want to know about the $4,285. Is the county paying all that or not?
Yeah,
Thank
this
you,
is the portion we pay.
thank you. That's what I want. Personally,
okay, sorry,
that's all right.
I think I was misunderstanding the question.
Understandable.
Anyone else? Representative Opal.
Heather, I'm curious. I've seen some really good things from extension in my own community. But I'm seeing a lack of appreciation or even knowledge of what extension has to offer. And I'm wondering, does the county, do you UNH, the statewide, what kind of marketing? Kind of marketing is going on, because it feels like there's a lot of great programming. But there's a lot of people who don't know what's out there.
Yeah, and I would say, so I've been here 17 years and this is something we've struggled with the whole time I've been here. Ray Burton, who obviously passed away a number of years ago, used to call us, I think, the best kept secret in New Hampshire. So it is a challenge.
Unfortunately, that may still be true.
It might be, yeah. So some things we do to try to deal with that are publications like this. We have newsletters. I know Paul probably wants to jump in here.
You're doing great. Yeah. Well, the only thing I would add to that is, this past spring, we engaged all our county advisory councils and our state advisory council to gather feedback. That message was definitely a message heard. And so we're taking the summer to look through how can we get the word out. Because for us, every year gets more competitive because of how people get information. You know, they're not just getting it from the county bulletin anymore, or the local newspaper. We all know this, they're getting it from 50 different things online, competing for their attention. So for us, it's about not just how can we make sure everyone knows about us, but how can the people who would benefit from our services know more about us. So absolutely, we'll take suggestions there, but we try to get advertisements out, whether that be through libraries, through local newspapers, social media. We can definitely do a better job of it. So any tips you have how to get it out through Grafton, I'm all ears, please.
Well, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I would just offer two suggestions. One is, I would reach out to every city council and select board in the county, or in every county, but I'm concerned about Grafton County.
Right.
Because I don't think they're aware of what opportunities there are. I also had the opportunity to help start an economic development committee in Canaan. And I think one of the things you might want to do is reach out to all of the communities in Grafton County and say, hey, you have an economic development committee, we'd like to make a presentation, or we'd like to make sure you are aware of what we have to offer. It was because of the budget hearing last year that I got Sue Kevin to come to Canaan in front of our economic development committee. So just a couple suggestions.
Thank you. So, for sure. So I'm not sure, does Grafton do, I'm sorry, but should be asking if I can answer.
You may.
Thank you, excuse me, I apologize. Say, I know some of our counties actually include information in the town reports annually. I'm not sure if Grafton is one of them.
Okay.
I know that's not getting out to everybody, but there's always different ways you can go, outreach to the selectmen and town councils is a.
Select board.
Select board, excuse me. Great suggestion, thank you, I'm not take that on my phone, so. Thank you.
I was just gonna add,
Representative Sellers.
just gonna add to that, that the appoint, the select board, town council, they're always turning over. You know, so.
Exactly.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Heather, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, well, we're on time actually, but I don't, it's great coming in.
So I sent you a revised agenda.
Oh, I don't have the revised one in front of me, sorry.
The next on your agenda is
Yeah.
Truly.
me.
Oh,
And is it okay if I sit here or would you like me to move down there?
thank you. Yes, no, stay right there. That's fine.
We're gonna start on page 1 of the revenue. And I'm gonna go through for you all of the revenues that are non-department based. They're not specific to a department.
Okay,
So starting on page 1 at the top-ish of the page, there's state federal funds.
that's line 101.
Abandoned property and federal PILT. PILT stands for payment in lieu of taxes we receive from the United States Department of Treasury on an annual basis for our primarily unincorporated land, forest lands that are in Livermore. There are no significant changes in those two numbers. The abandoned property I did increase. Abandoned property comes to us from the state of New Hampshire. You may call it escheated funds. Those come to us at the end of June every year. It's a formula that's calculated by the state of New Hampshire for monies that have been abandoned over time. And after a 7-year period of not being claimed, monies that have been abandoned from Hardin County residents come back to the county. And that's the same in each county across the state. So this is an average of the money that we receive. I have absolutely no way of knowing what the dollar amount will be. Last year we received 313,000. We've had years that we've received 80,000. So the 125 is the best guesstimate that I can give to you at this point, but that's what those are, and that's what those revenue funds are. On to page 2, starting towards the middle. With interest, which is 9060101. You will see that we decreased the interest projections by $25,000. I do believe that we will make our interest projections of the 275 this year. But we, to be on the safe side, anticipate a slight reduction in our interest rates when we have monies to invest again in December. So with that slight interest decrease anticipated, decrease that line item by 25,000. The next line item is courthouse rent. It actually should just say rental income because it's not just for the courthouse, but it's primarily for spaces that are rented from the courthouse. That's increasing slightly, and that's just due to the schedule of our lease agreements that we have. Leases increasing for fiscal year 27. The next line item, I am going down the rest of the page. So the next line item is human services, and the account is titled recoveries. Recoveries are monies that we receive back from the state of New Hampshire for Medicaid costs that were paid. For example, if Medicaid costs were paid and the state recouped money from the sale of a property, portion of that comes back to the portion that the county would have paid would come back to us. It did decrease that this year. This year and the prior year, we seem to be lagging a little bit below. Again, it's a line item. I have absolutely no idea during the year how much money we're gonna get. So, be conservative, we did reduce that to 75,000. The next section is the miscellaneous revenues that we get. All of our retirees are now on Medicare Advantage plan. So there is no retiree drug subsidy monies. That line item comes away after next year. The miscellaneous general revenue is literally exactly as the title says. If we get any bit of revenue that's not accounted for directly, it goes into the miscellaneous revenue account. You can see we don't anticipate a whole lot of it. Next line item that I need to speak with you about is the USAC subsidy. We have received a USAC subsidy for the last 4 years. We received the subsidy for the last 3 years. The subsidy was applied for this year. As you can see, the 143,161 that's in the budget for the current year. And we did not, that subsidy was rejected. We work with a company called New England Telehealth Consortium as the third-party administrator of that. They believe that's an error on USAC's part. They have appealed the decision. The appeal process takes a full year to go through, meaning we won't know if that appeal is valid until next year, at least at this point in time. I think it's in our best interest to not count on that revenue again. So my recommendation to you is that we actually zero out this line item. We will not be receiving the 143,000 in FY 26. And we just learned this It was after the commissioner's budget was approved. I think it was the middle of May when I reported this to the commissioners, so, unfortunately, we will likely will not be receiving that money. What that money is, it's a rural healthcare subsidy, so we receive monies for our information technology contract that we have for the managed service provider that manages our networks. We also receive a very small subsidy for a component of our Fidium bill, and we also receive subsidy from for our internet connections. We have several of them, the primaries from UNH, and then we have Spectrum Internet that we also receive some subsidy for. Those subsidies have been approved and will continue, but they're very, very small amounts in comparison to the vast majority comes from the IT managed services aspect of it, and that's the piece that was denied.
If no one else has the question, I'll ask the question. Go ahead, Representative Opal.
Well, I was just gonna wonder if we were doing questions on revenue and then questions on expenses.
Yeah.
Julie, on the USAC, that's a federal,
It is.
we engaged a delegation to perhaps assist in the appeal.
We have not, trying to think back to my conversation with NETSI's New England Telehealth, and we are a member of their consortium and they're the advocate for that. They actually do all the administration for it. I had a conversation with them and they may have actually talked about doing that as part of the appeal process. Also, they told me that, the person that works for them that is writing the appeal used to work for USAC, so knows USAC in and out. So was hoping that that would be an advantage for them as well.
Just follow up.
Does the lack of that, what impact is that 143 that we're not getting the money? What impact does that have on the bottom line for 26 and then going into 27?
So once I learned that we weren't receiving it, we stopped anticipating it as part of our projected surplus numbers. So obviously it has $143,000 impact on that anticipated surplus.
But it doesn't push us in red.
No. And the impact on this year, I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but it will increase the amount to be raised by taxes because it'll be a lost revenue.
Could I add?
Certainly, Commissioner.
The USAC program, and I just didn't have this come out, that this is really a rural healthcare program that we're applying for this funding, so it really is, it doesn't make sense. I think the appeal may take time, but it's the whole purpose of what NETSI does is to get this funding for rural healthcare program agencies and organizations, and I believe ours is mostly targeted to the cost of the nursing home. How does that?
It's based on the nursing home. So our managed service provider contract is broken down into two contracts, one for the nursing home and one for the rest of the campus. And the subsidy is based on the contract for the nursing home.
Can you give me just a little bit more information about, so this was a revenue stream that we had in the past and suddenly now it's stopped. And I understand it's a federal program. Is there any more information you could share about why it suddenly stopped?
All I can share with you is what they shared with me, and that was that they think it's an error. They think that USAC has a number of new employees who don't understand the program. They also feel that the program isn't funded well enough at the federal level, so that the managed service provider is a big aspect of the funding, and that they might be pulling back on some of that because of the funding levels. They were going to be requesting, NETSI, we're going to be requesting an enormous increase in the next federal budget for the USAC funding, or USAC was gonna be requesting the increase.
So relative to pulling it out of next year's budget, it's because there's less money available on the federal level.
That's part of what they told me they thought the denial was because of.
Okay, all right. Anyone else? Representative Sellers.
So we're not saying it's necessarily going away. It might be decreased or it might go away.
Correct.
We just
And I
don't know
think
what
the
it's gonna
safe
be at all.
thing is, the safe thing for budgeting purposes isn't to assume that we will not receive it.
I
But
understand.
you're right. We may very well get it.
Well, that's like we do with budgeting. I mean, you know, you budget 143,000, for example, right? And then you found out different. I mean, budget is budget, right? So I mean, are you sure that we're not gonna get anything next year?
I will figure out what we are getting, because we will get some of the pieces, we'll get the
Okay.
video piece, we'll get the UNH piece, and I'll figure that out. But
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally not more than $5,000, so, but the line won't be zero, it will be something.
One other question.
Yep,
Thank you. All this layout is fine, which shows us the 26 and 27 numbers, which are great. But like you had said for the abandoned property, for an example, in this case for 26, we don't get to see the numbers because they haven't come in yet, right?
Right.
So it would be nice if we had the 25 numbers there, so we could have saw what came in 25, you know, even all the way down the level, all of it for that matter. Yeah, because it's hard to say, okay, well, 25, you brought in 350,000, 200,000. So now, why, I know it's a guess on this stuff, you know, so I was just wondering if it might show a better picture for us.
Would be hard for me to fit another column into the book.
No,
You
no, I'm
don't
not
need
asking for the
these-
book.
You don't need these columns on the right.
No, I was just gonna say, Mr. Chairman, that's why I brought the 26, the old budget
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Has the.
oh, I see, I didn't see the 26.
No.
I also, in specific regards to abandoned property and the tilt payment, I have running charts. I keep like the last 15 years of payments, which I'm happy to share with you.
All right,
Thank you.
let's move along.
Last one on your surplus, you will see that we decreased the surplus. I recommended that we decrease the surplus, from the 1.7 that we used last year to the 1.5.
Julie, I'm sorry, what page is that?
It's right at the bottom of the revenue page 2 that we were just on.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to get to, I didn't print this ahead of time. So what happens with the surplus is in February, I start projecting out surplus. I update it at the end of every month when we enclose a month's time period. And, so right now we have not closed out May. We're still in the process of doing that. So not everything is posted. So this number is through April 30th. And with using the 1.5 million, that will leave us with an undesignated fund balance of $1.9 million, which is 3.3%. As you all know, because we had extensive conversations about it last year, our fund balance policy requires us to, or expects us to have between 8 and 16%. So we continue to be well below that. The commissioners and I decided to put the 1.5 in just because there was a pretty significant tax increase this year. So that was the number we felt like we could live with, but just so you're aware, it does leave us still well below. I anticipate we'll see these numbers, anticipate seeing a decrease in our overall fund balance again this year. Our expenses will absolutely exceed our revenues this year, so just seems to be the cycle that we're currently in.
Representative Frost.
On this reduction in the fund balance, I know we talked about it last meeting, maybe not doing that and putting money aside instead for the courthouse. But could you produce some sort of report that turns this into
a dollar amount, like you did last year, how much it would cost each person, you know, if you just, you know, based it on your budget, how much it would cost each municipality? I know that it's got, you know, an 8% increase, and if you take this out, it would be 14 or whatever. But, you know, it's better to look at it as a dollar amount.
I can do that now based off old equalized valuation rates.
Yes,
The
yeah.
new ones haven't been set yet. I anticipate any day they will be because DRA usually releases those mid-June. And once that's done, then I'll update the normal spreadsheet that I do, but yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Based on zero, based on, what number, how do you want me to, just where we're
Just
at
like-
now, or?
Just like what you did last year, you know, just how much is it gonna cost each town additionally if we
Yep.
take this,
Yeah, I can easily do that based on the old equalization, but you have to know that those numbers are gonna change. and
yeah,
that
but
would be-
not that much.
But it'll give you a picture.
Give it a- Right, thank you.
All right. Let's move along.
Okay, so now we're gonna turn to page 1 of the expense detail, and the first budget that we're gonna go through is the commissioner's office budget, and I'm actually gonna hand you out a narrative for this budget, and as that's being passed around, I'll just start with a general, the commissioner's office budget is increasing $48,393 or 7.88% in this proposed budget. And the first line item that has a significant change is the very first line item, which is 4100,001, which is the county administrator's salary line. And I'd just like to do a quick review of this line. There's a significant change in this that has sparked spreading of a great deal of information. And I'm just gonna provide you with some data to explain the composition of the line item and to support the salary in this. I continuously hear that I am overpaid as the county administrator, and I'm gonna give you some data that in fact supports that is not true, and that in fact, the county administrator position on market-wise may actually be underpaid. The budget contains a salary of $198,217 for fiscal year 2027. As most of you, I'm sure, are aware at this point, I am retiring in January. So the commissioners, when we put the budget together, requested that I put that in with a new county administrator position starting in October of this year, so that new county administrator would have a 3-month overlap with me before my retirement is effective. That's what the salary line is based on. I've heard multiple times that somehow I came up with some way to create a thing that I got paid $200,000 between July and January, but just to assure you all that that is not the case. The current county administrator, that's myself, the salary is $99,373.60 from July to January, and that's based on my current salary. I'm at the max step of the chart, so there is no step increase. And it includes the 3.03% cost of living adjustment. The other component that's in the salary line item for $98,843 is a new county administrator beginning in October. That is an estimated salary. The person is not hired, so the commissioners don't know what that salary will be, but that's a projection for that position. The next thing I just wanted to provide you is some data. You'll see the spreadsheet here at the bottom. And what that is salary information from all 10 New Hampshire counties. Carroll and Rockingham counties do not have county administrator positions. And of the 8 counties that do, I am the second longest serving county administrator in the state. Been doing the county administrator job for 24 years. I've been here a total of 35 years. If you look at the salary ranges for the 6 counties that have ranges, you'll see there's some that don't have ranges. Grafton County has the second lowest maximum step for a county administrator position. if you rank the order of county administrator salaries, Grafton County ranks fifth out of 8 counties with the second longest serving county administrator. And the average county administrator salary is $177,861.87. So that's factual data that supports that the Grafton County administrator salary is not out of line with similar positions across the state. And just a super brief history on how that salary range came to be. In fiscal year 2022, an independent wage analysis was performed by Keypoint HR. They were hired through an RFP process. They determined which comparators to were appropriate to use. The following counties were used: Belknap, Carroll, Coos, Cheshire, Merrimack, and Sullivan. Then there were 28 other public employer respondents from New Hampshire, primarily from New Hampshire, a couple from Vermont and a couple from Maine, that had similar economic conditions, populations, and demographics. That survey at that time found that the county administrator's position was substantially below market. And that was addressed when that new wage chart was implemented. So I just wanted to provide you with that information and hope that that's helpful information, and that if you have any other further questions about that position or that salary, I'm happy, the commissioners are happy to answer those. That's the explanation on the very first line. I promise the rest of them won't be nearly as long-winded.
Anyone have any questions at this point?
Can I,
Representative Holden.
and this may be premature, but, because I am jumping ahead, but there's a 3-month overlap, and obviously, all due respect, everybody at the table, the new county administrator hasn't been chosen. It could be someone from Baltimore, and it could be somebody who is not here. Given that potential complexity, I mean, it's gonna be complex anyway, been here for 20 years. Is 3 months enough time, and is $5,000 for the transition consultant sufficient? And again, I
For
recognize.
that to the board of commissioners.
I think we felt 3 months was adequate amount of time. We'll do an internal search first. We have done some succession planning, and we do have an assistant county administrator, so there's that internal process that we'll go through first. And I think we've been working on that succession planning. Julie's been working on that already, so it should be enough time to do that. It may be more challenging if an external candidate comes in, but we do feel that that's enough time for an internal candidate.
Can I ask one follow-up?
Certainly.
We did, Julie, you outlined the wage survey was done in 2022. I'm just wondering if we've considered, since we may be trying to recruit a new county administrator, have we considered doing a wage survey to see how, this is good information in terms of positioning us against the other counties. But obviously, someone who's looking for a county administrator position might not be coming from another county. Could bring on
Sure.
qualifications. So I'm just
Sure.
wondering if we consider doing some sort of, what might it take to recruit?
Yeah, we have not talked about that at all. Go ahead.
If I may say something, I just, to that point, and we have not discussed it. I will say that the Belknap County Administrator is new this year and, did not come from another county, came from a town, so, I just want us to keep an eye on that salary, which is not significantly lower than our, very experienced administrator who's been here and served us very well for 24 years.
And I think it's important to say, because this is the other misinformation that's been out there, is that you could actually hire somebody to do that job that Julie's been doing for 24 years and pay them anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000. And I just want to state that the complexity of this job and working with government financing, state, federal, and local folks and financing is really quite critical. It's important to all of us, and we would not consider hiring somebody in at a low level. We're looking for somebody who has the ability to work with bond markets, has the ability to do high-level, complex financing, working with area banks and so on. So this is a really complex job that includes both administration and oversight of many departments here, high-level departments here, over 400 employees doing the work here. That it's really important for our local taxpayers and people to know that there is somebody in charge who is capable of doing that kind of work and skilled in that kind of work. So I do want to mention that because that's the other piece that we
Well,
hear.
I will say, just as a point of information, with all due respect to my town, we pay our town administrator a six-figure salary. It's far less complex job than county administrator's job. And we're now trying to recruit our fourth town administrator in 3 years.
Yeah.
So good luck with a $50,000 county.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And if I may, I would just like to thank Representative Opal for the idea of perhaps again, looking into the salary, and I think it's something that we might want. Well, I think the chair will think about it and
Definitely want to.
but we might want to put it on our agenda for the next few weeks, because I think that's an excellent point.
Anyone else? Julie?
Sorry to extend that conversation.
So, the rest of the commissioner's office budget, there are 5 staff members that work here. 3 of them are at the maximum staff and will receive no other increase than the cost of living adjustment. Other than that, benefit lines increased with the 3-month overlap, as well as the, increases that we saw in those line items. Because of the cost of items. The education and conference line is the next line that I would draw your attention to, 4,100, 170. It's the middle-ish of the page. There's an increase in that line item. Grafton County is the host county for the New Hampshire Association of Counties Conference in November of this year. We are doing all of the planning, all of the programming, all of the work that needs to be done up there. So we do have more staff that will be attending that, which is the reason you see an increase in my education conference line, as well as the travel expense, 711 line, a little bit further down in the budget. The consultant line is increased. There's funding in that line, in case there are any services needed during the county administrator transition. Audit service line item has increased. We went out to bid for our next 3-year commitment for our audits in January, and the prices have increased. So that just represents the new cost for the audit for the next couple of years. And that's all the highlights of line items in that budget that have increased.
Representative Phelps.
Thank you. So looking at 4,100, 271 allocated in home.
Yep.
That's going up 52,000, 18.6%.
So my budget is allocated back to the nursing home based on a number of different percentages, and it's primarily staff. We allocate 75% of payroll, we allocate 50% of accounts payable, we allocate 50% maybe of our finance coordinator salary, 25% of my salary. So as those salaries increase, so would that as well as benefits. So would that allocation increase to the nursing home? It's a wash. It comes out of my budget, it goes into Craig's, so it doesn't, it goes into the nursing home budget for cost account, for our Medicaid cost report purposes.
Follow-up.
Thank you. Also on the assistant accounting administrator, 2 questions on this. One is, it's going up 6%. I
Mhm.
was wondering why that's not the COLA with a 3.3. The second part is, can the assistant county administrator do the job? Or close to doing the job as the county administrator?
The first question that you asked is the assistant county administrator is one of the employees in our department that is not at the maximum step, so there's a step increase included for her for the fiscal year, as well as the cost of living adjustment. And as to whether the current assistant county administrator can do the job, I absolutely think the answer to that is yes, but there's a process that has to be gone through, and that's not my decision to make, so.
I was just asking. That's
Representative Opal.
On behalf of Representative String, he had,
Sending you notes.
he had two, yes, he had two questions that he was kind enough to, he submitted several on down the line, but the two questions that I think he wanted to ask the administrators was first, ARPA funds are winding down. Which programs or positions are currently ARPA funded that need to be absorbed into the general fund in 28? Then second, if I may, what vendor contracts are up for renewal in 27 and have any been recently?
So the first question is, we only have one ARPA position. It is the investigator in the county attorney's office. It is being absorbed into the 27 budget because ARPA funding ends in December. So I think there is $25,000-ish of course salary that will be coming out of ARPA. That in 28 will have to additionally get absorbed into the budget. Second question was any vendor contracts.
Vendor contracts up for renewal in fiscal 27 and have any been recently competitive?
The audit contract is up and it was bid out. I don't know specifically of other, I mean, all the department heads keep track of their own contracts and when they would need to go out for bid, but we put anything out for bid that, you know, is of significant cost that requires us to put that out for bid.
Thank you.
Okay.
Page 3. Unlike the top of the page, that's where it says page 2, the treasurer's budget. The treasurer's budget has increased 1 million. Well, 1,000.
I hope not.
No,
Michael's gonna be really happy.
Sorry, $1,808. And the only significant increase is the travel expense. And that just reflects the current treasurer's mileage and weekly trips. The previous treasurer didn't make as many trips to the county campus. The current treasurer comes weekly. He signs all of our accounts payable checks. So this just reflects that. It also, well, this increase doesn't include the increase in the salary because I haven't added those in yet, but that budget will also change by the elected official salaries that. The next place we're going is page 21, which is the human service county cap. So this budget has decreased by $223,067 or 2.86%. This money is mandated. This is Grafton County's share of the Medicaid costs for Grafton County residents. As you all know, the county cap is set by state statute. The statute has a 2% annual increase. This year, the increase will be 3% in the county cap, as was decided by the legislature last year. That cap is broken down by percentage for all of the 10 counties. We pay a percentage based on the actual of the past 3 years. The last 2 years, our percentage has decreased. You know, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but apparently the population is aging rapidly in all parts of the state. And so with the reduction in our percentage, even with the 3% increase, we are actually able to decrease what our anticipated county cap will be. The caps are not set until typically July, I think it was September last year. So it isn't until we've passed the budget that we actually know what our county cap will be. This is an estimate. Any questions on county caps? Next, page 29. Conservation District. The county funds the office administrator in the conservation, for the conservation district. That budget is decreased $14,702. Our long-term administrator retired last June. Her replacement was not hired until September. The budget, the current budget that we have included a family plan of health insurance. The new administrator only requires a single plan with a significant savings there in health insurance costs, which is the reason for the reduction in that budget. You want me to just
Yeah, keep going.
so we're just gonna keep going page by page now. So we're going to page 30. Page 30 is a section we call wage and benefit. This section has increased $136,029. There are a number of line items within this that have increased. I'm gonna go through each one of them. The first one being the health insurance reimbursement account. The county pays 50% of the deductible for any employee who elects our lower cost plan. The increase is due to the fact that we've had an increase in the number of employees choosing the lower cost health insurance plan, therefore more employees that were picking up that 50% of the deductible. Retiree health insurance, this covers our non-nursing home employees who retire. That increased due to the increase in rates. That is a Medicare Advantage plan and renews in January. So we also have an anticipated increase for January of 27 because we don't know at this point in time what that increase will be. Quick side note with our change, we are changing from Health Trust to Harvard Pilgrim Insurance effective July 1st. That was a decision that was made in order to save quite a bit of money in the upcoming budget. And Health Trust, our insurance through Anthem, the Medicare Advantage program that we have is a custom designed program that was designed by Health Trust, which is an Anthem product. Anthem has agreed to let us continue that direct through Anthem. So our retiree health insurance is not changing, which is good because that's a lot for them to go through when we change insurances. So at this point in time, they will maintain the same insurance that they have. The FSA, which stands for Flexible Spending Administration, we offer flexible spending accounts to our employees. The decrease in that account is county used to contribute $500 to the FSA for any employees who are on the lower cost plan. That's been reduced to $250 for the upcoming budget, which brought the decrease in the account. The Employee Assistance Program fee is a new line item. When we were insured with Health Trust, the EAP program was included in our rates that we paid to Health Trust. This is a new vendor, standalone vendor that will be offering the EAP program for our employees, and $9,882 is the fee for that program. Earned time buyback is a program that we offer to our employees. When employees resign in good standing, retire, they're entitled to be paid out the entire bank of earned time that they have accrued. We allow our employees twice a year to buy back up to 40 hours of that time. And we've seen an increase in the amount of employees that are participating in that program as well. So that's the reason for the increase in that line item. Then the employee benefit payout is also non-nursing home. And that is due to Superintendent Oaks is retiring in July. I am retiring in January. Captain Kendall from the jail is retiring on June 30th. So there will be a number of long-term management positions that are retiring in 27 that have necessitated the increase in that line item for upcoming.
Representative Vogel.
Julie, let me understand. I'm looking at, 8670-001, the health reimbursement account, and the FSA account 004. Am I correct in understanding that if I'm a county employee and I choose the lower health plan, I'm probably doing that for financial reasons. I'm looking at the cost of health insurance and I'm saying, okay, I've got to go to a lower plan. In return, the county is saying, we'll pick up 50% of your deductible. But at the same time, we're reducing the amount we're contributing on the FSA, is that right?
That is correct.
Have you taken a look at cost benefit of? Like, presumably, if I'm an employee and I pick the lower healthcare plan, other than the 50% cost to the county for whatever the deductible coverage is, there's no benefit to the county and the employee picking lower, except on the other line item of the FSA.
No. There's a huge difference in premiums. So we want,
So how much of the premium does the county pick up?
the county picks up on the lower cost plan 88% of the premium. So what we've done is try to incentivize our employees to pick up the lower cost plan, higher deductible plan. And because it's financially advantageous to the county, if our employees are picking up that lower cost plan for premium purposes.
Okay, so do you have a number on how many employees have moved to the lower cost plan or a percentage or?
I mean, I can't tell you, what I can tell you is that what we've done this year is the higher cost plan. So right now, current day, any employee who is on the higher cost plan pays either 15% of the premium or 20% based on a data hire. Effective July 1st, if they choose to stay on that program, that contribution is going to 25%. I think the family plans are $490 something per pay period for the employee contribution. Applications are due today for health insurance. The last time I spoke with HR, they had one person sign up for the higher cost plan. So my anticipation is that the vast majority of our employees will be on the lower cost plan effective July 1st. That's the assumptions that are actually made in the FSA accounts and HRA accounts.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
It's significant. The premium differences for employee contributions are significantly different. They're pretty significant now. Next year, they're very significant.
Representative Sellers.
Thank you. On that same topic, you said on the lower cost plan, the county's picking up 88%
Correct.
plan.
That is correct.
Is that normal as far as business practices to be picking up such a high number like that?
It's very normal in public employment. I'm not sure about private. I don't have any expertise in private employment, but in public government, it's very common that the employer is picking up a high percentage of the cost of the plan.
One follow-up.
Oh,
When an employee retires, I think I answered my own question. They have the option of keeping the insurance. Is that what it is? And still paying for it? Are we still paying for it as a county?
So when an employee retires, there's a couple of different qualifying events that the employee has to meet in order to be able to continue having county paid insurance. If an employee retires and they haven't met that, they can continue coverage through COBRA, but most don't do that.
So the only way would be through COBRA.
If they don't meet the 10 years or the 20 years or the age or whatever, then they would have to
So if you meet the 10 or 20 years, then the county picks up their insurance?
Correct. A single plan, just a single.
A single, just single, okay.
Yeah.
Representative Opal.
One last question, just as a follow-up. I'm assuming, for most county employees who are part of the union, that the health coverage is part of negotiations when they.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's something to remember, the sheriff's department's not on this insurance. The sheriff's department has a completely separate as they're through the Teamsters.
And I guess I would, not for nothing, I would mention that, in the past, the state had helped pay for retirement costs, and they are no longer doing so. And that has an effect on what we're doing as well, with our retirees. It went from what's supposed to be 35%, and over the years, it's got down to, I think, 10, and then in the most recent iteration of state budget, it's 0. That
Also,
comes back to
there
us.
used to be a medical subsidy as part of the
Right.
retirement system as well. That stopped in 2009.
Yeah.
So we have a number of our retirees who we get subsidy. So we don't pay 100% of the premium. Their subsidy pays a big portion of the premium, but that stopped in 2009. So any retirees since then, which obviously we have fewer and fewer of those are retirees and more retirees who are retiring since then.
Last question.
Certainly.
So on retirement again, with do you know how many people are on retirement that we're actually paying?
I do. I can't tell you off the top of my head without going to look at my spreadsheet, but I keep a spreadsheet that has, that's how we calculate the cost.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to figure if it's gonna be going up, going down, staying steady, what's happening, because I mean, that's a
Quite honestly,
long-term expense.
Representative, we usually lose.
Excuse me?
We usually lose several retirees during the year,
Mhm.
passing away.
Sure.
But we're probably right at this point, we're probably gaining faster than we're losing because we have a whole core group of employees who are all similar age with long-term service that are all starting to retire.
Yeah.
So, and we have all been here, 35+ years and, are all working towards making sure we have our health insurance when we retire.
Okay, moving along, thank you.
Page 31, tax anticipation interest, increasing $25,000. That reflects our actual that we paid in FY 26, and we're anticipating a similar borrowing schedule, with slightly higher interest rate for next year. That's what that is. Bonded debt on page 32, increased 67,950. The bond debt repayment schedule decreases every year. The amount of interest we pay annually decreases, so that will continue to decrease unless obviously we add new debt, but this is the bond payment on the jail. And it's in two different issues. One's paid off in July of 2030 and the other one's paid off in July of 2031. On page 34, skipping the next page, because the departments go over that with you. Going to page 34 under contingencies. That's a decrease $10,500. We decreased the outside council line based on our current usage. And there's an increase in the county government promo line. I had said at the beginning, we are the host county this year for the New Hampshire Association of Counties Annual Conference. Just for reference, the last time we hosted was in 2013. Supposed to be every 10 years, but we had COVID and we had all that other stuff. So, and last year was supposed to be every year, but it ended up the 50th anniversary. Beside the point, it's been a long time since we hosted it, and it will be a long time before we host again. So there are some expenses added in there for that purpose.
Representative Opal.
One quick question, what if anything does the association contribute?
A lot. The budget's 100,000, it's way more than 100,000. We're trying to raise $100,000 in sponsorship from vendors, I think, right? 80,000. But there's some there's some things we like to do as a host county that just aren't covered by the association budget. We all pay. I think there's a $2,500 assessment on our dues for each county that we pay that also goes towards the conference, expenses and what. Lastly, well, yeah, mostly lastly, unemployment insurance, is decreased $2,500. We are what the state calls a reimbursable employer. We are billed for any unemployment claims for any employees that we are considered a chargeable employee for. Up until 2 months ago, we hadn't had an unemployment claim since before COVID, I think. We do currently have one, but I think we'll be okay if we reduce the line item still. And lastly is the delegation expense on page 36 in your page.
Yes, of course.
On those two line items, the last two ones, delegation and accounting, again, do we end up spending all 10,000 or do we need to increase that because of increased gas prices or anything like that?
It depends. We don't typically end up spending it all unless we have extra meetings for some purpose.
And in fact, we had one less meeting this year, correct?
We had an executive committee meeting that we did not have. I think we had an extra delegation meeting, didn't we, for the courthouse back in, anyways, there's not, what's the 9 month look like? I didn't turn pages, I just.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely won't spend all 10 this year.
Okay.
And the mileage really only increases annually, so it won't increase now unless there's a special adjustment because of gas prices, which could happen, I guess, but. I think we'll be okay.
Hope so.
$3.99 today.
Yes, right down the road.
Yeah.
They just
$3.94.
put out a notice that as a service to the community, they were.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's so
prices,
nice,
which is
yeah.
lovely. So that way, fill up anyway.
Personally, I love it when the mileage goes up. Personally, I love it when the gas reimbursement. For those who don't know, I drive a fully
Yeah,
electric
yeah.
vehicle, so it,
We get you other registration.
oh, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Not as much as your truck.
I hear you.
So those are all the budgets that I have to go over with you. Everything else will be by departments or the commissioners have a couple of budgets they're gonna go over with you next, but if anybody has any other questions.
I thought we would take 5 minutes before the commissioners began, so we are not going too far ahead of things in case somebody wants to leave. So we'll start at 10:15, commissioners. 5 minutes from that.
Hey, George, I'm going to leave it at noon.
You're kind of early, so,
Super.
and I can get a hold of Craig and see.
All right. That's great. So why don't we get started with the commissioners?
Okay, so we're gonna start with the Grafton County Regional Development Council Corporation. And this funding is 40,000, it's level. We are very supportive of this group. They do a lot of work in the county. We meet with them on a quarterly basis when they let us know what they've been doing, supporting. There's a big emphasis on childcare right now, childcare development. And expanding that opportunity. They also work with low and moderate income businesses and business owners. They bring in a lot of grants to do the work, so they leverage what we provide them to do that work. You probably, I'm trying to think of there's 4 core organizations they work with, including in my area, it's REN, the Women's Rural Entrepreneurial Network, where they work directly with small businesses to help them get started. They have things like equipment grants that they provide. So someone may need a small piece of equipment that will drive that expansion of their businesses. And that just the ecosystem, they have their work down in the your area, the technical place that they have that they're trying to expand. They have in the Plymouth area. You can say more about that. There's business development that they do there. So this is a pretty small amount that we provide them, and we've been level funded for a couple of years now. But we get a whole lot more out of that funding and grants and so on.
Yeah,
Representative,
no, I just would add that, they do a lot of micro loans, which are usually under $5,000, and it's for equipment. It could be for, when they come in, they give us many examples, you know, whether it's computers or it's specific, equipment that say, you know, they have people who make soaps and that kind of thing, if something that they need or whatnot, and they get so much out of these little loans, and they've done a lot with the childcare and helping for the in-home childcare providers with, you need, lead assessment for your house and remediation, and they've worked really hard with the in-home childcare providers to meet those standards, which are hard to do.
And I was just gonna say in Canaan, they work with an in-home provider, family childcare provider. So they do a lot of business advising. So someone like that may need some assistance in how do they set up their accounting system and those sorts of things. So they'll help that. And I should have been specific. In Plymouth, it's the Enterprise Center.
Yeah.
That's an incubator. Yeah. And then in your area in the Upper Valley, it's the Dartmouth Regional Technology Center, which is right at capacity. That has been going on for quite a long time.
quite a
20
few years.
20
There's an
years, maybe?
amazing- Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an amazing number of small businesses that have become, actually a couple have become large businesses that have stayed in the Upper Valley. Based on that beginning point. Representative Wolf.
The only thing I was gonna say, I think we get a tremendous amount of return on investment for that $40,000. But I will sort of make the same point that I made about extension. I think it is maybe the second of best kept secret for a really good, yeah, and it's done. We also had the folks from the council come down and talk to the Economic Development Committee again, but I think whatever we can do, sort of let people know that the county is doing this, and this is one of the things that get back for their tax dollars. So
Well, yeah, I'm gonna actually echo that in a broader plane. It's my considered opinion that county government is completely underappreciated for the level of services, and things that they do for the taxpayers of this county. Providing incredibly essential services that most people, if you were to ask them, what does your county government do? They have no.
Right. Yep.
So, over my 10, 12 years here, I will tell you that I've tried very hard to change that perception, but it's almost impossible. And I'm like, you got 2 minutes to be able to talk. I use my 2 minutes to talk about county government. All right, moving along.
Okay, so moving on now to page 28, and this is our social services, and I think segue that you provided around what county does. You know, Grafton County is a very rural county, and there are some larger areas maybe in our southwestern part, but we do not have the big social services available that many of the southern counties do, and so we find, the commissioners find it really critically important to support those services in our county that provide things that help keep people in their homes. And even more important now as our population is aging more rapidly, and those services that provide ways to help keep people out of our Department of Corrections, who maybe have never gotten in there, and then the others is not going back to that Department of Corrections. And so we focus on that on the social services. Last year, we did try to provide some sort of equity. I don't know what the right word is actually, but consistency in the types of funding that we did, so that similar organizations who provide benefit to a number of similar size population in our county would get the amounts, similar amounts of information. I guess that's how I could explain it. We do ask for an application process on this, so we get information from those organizations about how many people they see in each town in the county, so that we can evaluate that. And look at their annual reports and so on. So, for example, you'll see that our what I call the VNA type programs, home care programs, North Country Home Health, visiting nurses, Lakes Region, actually visiting nurse did not ask for funds this year. Kenny Baker, Lakes Region covers a lot in our Plymouth area. Communities, Lakes Region Community Services does cover a lot of CFI, which is the Medicaid program for folks who are at home. And our Common Ground, Northern Human Services. And so we have there's some consistency there that you may see a commonality of numbers. We did look at a lot of those that work on recidivism, and we did remove a number of programs, and you'll see that it noted on the budget. ADAPT, for example, and Archways and Katie, some programs and TLC Resource Center. So some of those programs do meet the requirements for opioid abatement funds. And so we used our county opioid abatement funds to support that, as opposed to the taxpayer dollars for those funds. So that's kind of the overview of that. I know sometimes you all have questions about specific organizations.
Representative Stellis first.
So a question about the opioid abatement funds. When you say it's to be funded, is that 100% funded or just partially?
100% funded of the request that they had. So for the
So if it's
TLC,
25,000, it be funded for 25,000.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Folk.
I just want to say that Transport Central is one of the awardees, I guess, and I'm the executive director of that nonprofit. Just a plug, we're going to expand to a full bus service for the town of Plymouth on September 1st.
Oh.
And we're working with Tri-County Gap up in Berlin, who is our transportation provider for my district. And I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be coming in with a lot bigger ask.
Yeah. That's great news, though. for
Yeah.
Public transportation in that area.
Been trying for 5 years.
Yeah.
Representative Opal.
With the chairman's permission, I have questions from Representative Stringham, but
Of
I
course.
do have my own question, which is,
Well, have at it.
Commissioner McLeod, on the, looking at the fiscal 26 9-month actual, are the agencies that have no amount, were they simply not funded, or is there some later payment that's coming?
So,
So for example, ADAPT, Bridge House, Voices Against Violence, Archways, well, forget Archways. The Upper Valley Haven, right? There was a budgeted amount for 26. There's no current expenditure for 26. I'm just wondering. Are those to be paid
whether or
before
not
the
they
end
did
of the
not
fiscal
pay them
year,
out
or?
for that.
They are eligible to submit the requests quarterly. I mean, these are not needed that. So they have started getting reminders that there is funding there for them, that they have to submit the reports and the requests for. And typically, they all make sure they do that before the end of the year, but
Oh, it's June
um,
29.
right. But there are definitely some that are not great with the requesting the funding.
We also had an organization in the Lebanon area that, I don't know if they've dissolved, or what was the one that?
Headrest.
Headrest, that was,
They're not, we didn't fund that.
yeah.
And ADAPT is new this year. It was a new request. Katie in Plymouth had been doing some juvenile restorative justice, and they stopped that program. And ADAPT is doing that, and so we funded ADAPT for that reason. And I will just say, I'm not positive that we funded 100% of the request. We went went through the opioid abatement, and I don't have that list. But we went through what we thought, was appropriate with the others, which is not listed here, but they were not all that exact dollar amount. But it all, whatever we funded came completely from the opioid abatement program. If that makes sense.
Engenders more questions, but Representative Vogel, continue.
Well, let me, a personal note, one of the things I would say is to the extent that you can make public those numbers about what these agencies are doing by town, I think would be flipped back to the discussion about county services and what the county is providing and the impact it is having. So that might be something that's useful for certainly each of us in the delegation. But I think, generally. So Representative Stringham was asking, and he has done some math here, I'm assuming. Although the second half of this question seems to be addressed in the budget. He says that, by his estimation, the opioid abatement fund covered 55,800 in agency funding in this cycle. Now, assuming he means 6, but I'm not sure. He was asking which agencies are funded that way, but I think that's clear from the budget document, which agencies. But he's also asking if that's sustainable going forward, or does it mask a structural general fund obligation at some point in the future? And then he sort of asks the reverse side of the coin, which is, are there any current social services being funded out of the general fund that might be shifted to the opioid? And I guess the general question is, how you guys looked at the opioid fund and allocated money and chose not to allocate in other cases.
Right, we went through the requirements of the opioid fund, what could be spent on that, and moved anything that we could to that funding source. So we did a pretty good review of these requests and what they presented to us. We actually asked them in the application this year to put down if they did that kind of work as well. So we did get a heads up from many of them, but we also knew that some of them did that work and did not respond to that question. So we looked at that more deeply. The other first question was about sustainability. And was that a question of sustainability of the opioid abatement fund?
I think the question is, at some point, the opioid abatement fund presumably is going to run out. And how sustainable are we going forward in terms of, what will ultimately be potentially either decisions to fund it through the general fund or do not fund it?
Right, so I can't speak for future commissioners, but we did hear from Attorney Buffetti from the Attorney General's office, and he's one of the main folks supporting this fund, and he's on the state commission, on the advisory commission on this, that this would be for 10 or 12 more years that they expect to get these funds. So
At about the same level.
yes, and what comes in, 15% of that goes to the towns and cities and counties that were involved in that legislation. The state keeps the rest of that money and then puts it out into RFPs, which they did this year. And so although our money is down, our fund is down to about 30,000 that is not allocated. Right now, we are expecting in the fall that we might get more of this funding from what they tell us, that there'll be more funding coming out to help replenish that. We did apply for funding when that RFP came out in May. We applied for about $400,000 of opioid abatement fund in order to support a shared position in our alternative sentencing program. So that would, and that's a really critical position where folks who are coming into the courts, the treatment courts, would not be able to stay in that situation, may end up in the jail if they're not assessed and providing with mental health and substance use disorder treatment. And so we're hoping that comes in, we might know this month sometime, I think is the date. So in terms of that sustainability, we're kicking the can down the road a little bit on that.
Most of the settlements are multi-year settlements, so the state should receive money for that 10 to 15-year time period from each one of those different settlements, and then they pay it back to us. Typically, it's annual in September.
So the county has over the years gotten over $1 million for that fund.
Aggregate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this will work for a while.
Anyone else? I had Representative Sellers first.
So I have a question, and my question is this, and actually it's a concern too. We have more than, I think it's around 32 different social services, thereabouts on our list that want money. I'm looking at the other counties in the state. One county has 5, another one 13, one 12. Hillsborough only has 3. Stratford 5 and Sullivan 9. Yeah, but we're trying to fund 32, right? And we're spending $500,000. These other counties, look at Rockingham, which is much bigger than we are. They're only doing 13 and only spending 300,000. And I'm just saying, I know there are other counties and I know, I'm not saying we're unique, but I think we're spreading a lot of money. And I think we should be more focused and do a better job on just a few social services than trying to fund them all. That's
So
my concern.
I'm gonna take a stab at this first, if I may. So, couple of points in answer to your query, Representative Sellers. First things first, when this list has been developed over the 12 years that I've been involved in the executive committee, we always try to look at how these agencies helped improve keeping people out of the nursing home and in their own homes, and how to keep them out of jail if that's possible. And so on. So if there was a county service that was provided and this agency supplemented or in some cases, maybe not ever replaced, but helped replace portions of it, that's how we made decisions about these agencies. So that was part one. Part two, this is Grafton County, and many of the counties that you referred to further south have a much more robust nonprofit agency picture than we do here in Grafton County. And so it's a little more, it's not, in my mind, not comparing apples with apples. So if the commissioner would like to.
I'd love to add some to that.
Yep.
I would say part of it, the high number of agencies and your suggestion for more focus. We are a very rural county and we don't have the large human service organizations in our county that they have in the southern part of the county that supplement with a lot of outside donations and fundraising that they do. So that's part of it, is that we have, if you look at the counties, for instance, at the ones that do home care services, one comes in from the Lakes region, we have Pemmy Baker, we have North Country that serves all of Coas and Northern Grafton. And so we're sort of, ours are all sort of on the ends and sides of our county and servicing other ones that are coming in instead of a large one. And then we're also, I'm just thinking about some of the other things such as Grafton County Senior Citizens Council. I would encourage you all to go to many of these agencies and their public meetings that they do. I know Commissioner Hedberg and I attended the one for that agency, and it's overwhelming the number of services they provide to the towns in our county, the number of Meals on Wheels that they provide, the number of home visits. I mean, just the number of senior centers and so on. And that's the one that we provide the most funding to. They have serious financial challenges that they're trying to meet and to continue to provide those services. And if they don't do that, I don't know where folks will get that. I've done those Meals on Wheels delivery for a number of years. And these are the people that are out in our county that are living in ways that you would not even imagine unless you do that yourself. And I could talk about a number of them, but I won't, because I truly enjoy visiting those people. But so we have a lot of need, and these are small amounts of money that make us a partner. I feel it's really important it gives them something that they can leverage with some of their funders and their fundraising donors and so on, that the county is, that this is an important service in the county. So overall, the amounts are fairly small to these organizations, but there's a large number of them. So, I mean, I could just go on and on, but I won't agree with that.
I believe I have, Representative Vogel next, and then we'll go back to the.
I just, to build on those 2 points. I would say that comparing Grafton County to Hillsborough or Rockingham or Stratford, or even Cheshire to some degree, we have one city in our county, Lebanon. Manchester, Nashua, city human service agencies that provide many of the same services that we can only provide through the county because Canaan can't afford it. Enfield can't afford it. Dorchester, Wentworth, and Warren can't afford it. Rockingham has Salem and Portsmouth and Londonderry and large communities with a lot of value. Yet Rochester, Dover, cities are concentrated in the southern portion of the state in the counties that I don't think it's a fair comparison to Grafton, both in terms of distance, in terms of the terrain and the size.
But I think I've lost track of Representative Bolton.
You did.
I'm sorry about that, sir.
Not to be insulting, but, one thing I wanted to point out, and I think I may have pointed out last year too, but the, actually application process for this has become a lot easier. I mean, it wasn't that cumbersome in the past, but now it's just, put your paperwork together, send an email, and then you're up, you consider it. And, we're on top of the quarterly, bills, and, we're not gonna be losing that revenue. So thank you
Yeah.
for doing that. I believe it might have been you that made the.
Yeah, I mean, we're very familiar with these organizations and what
Yeah.
they do and stay up on that and hear from many of them. So we just didn't think that that was, if it's a new organization, we want to
Make sure.
dig in, but 3 of us, at least the 2 of us, go through all of those applications and check them out, look at their websites, look at the work they're doing, go to their meetings if we can.
Representative Sellers is next.
Thank you. We could also, it's not comparing necessarily is the issue, it's the amount we're spending and how many we're funding. I mean, I could look at COAS, 150,000 they're spending, 0.3 of 1%. They're only sponsoring 12 agencies. That's COAS. I mean, you could look at Sullivan. They're spending 120,000, 0.2 of 1%. They're only funding 9 nonprofits. So I just want to bring this up, that I think, we're trying to do 28. Nobody else it has 20. The highest one is 17, which is Chichester, right? Cheshire. Sure. I'm glad I don't live in that county. I can't say the name. Anyhow, I'm just saying is that, we're funding so many of these, and then these same nonprofits, rightly so, are also going to every one of our towns, almost every one of our towns with a handout as well. And also, if they can, they'll go to the state and they'll go to any place else, the federal government, and they're all having their handouts. And of course, everybody needs money. All right, I'm just saying, we're asking the people of Grafton, which we don't have that many of compared to these other counties. We're asking them to spend $250,000, $300,000 more than other counties. And I know we have a very big area, I know that, but I'm just pointing it out. We're trying to fund 28, maybe 32 thereabouts this year. And some of those are from the abatement, which is not a problem, which is you're getting the money back anyhow. But I'm just saying, we're trying to fund so many. I'm not sure we're doing a great job where we could actually maybe do a better job funding less. That's it. I'm on my own.
If I could just do one last thing, I will say that at least in my district, town of Canaan, every one of these organizations that services our area, services Canaan, including the senior center in Canaan. Every one of these shows up, you're absolutely right, Representative Sellers, every one of these shows up on our town warrant every year looking for contributions. And every year, at least going back the last 5 or 6 years, the voters in Canaan have supported those contributions. So that, to me, I look at that and say, my constituents want to continue to support these services and feel like they're getting some value back from them. And that's why I say, I think if we had the numbers on who's being served, that would help in terms of supporting
I'm
that.
not saying we're not getting value, I'm saying we're getting value, we're just not, I think we're just getting so spread out, we're not really getting a fantastic value, let's put that.
Okay, point noted, thank you, sir. I think we will continue on, or are we all set?
I think that's it.
That's it?
Because we've social services.
Yeah.
So
All set?
Can I ask one last question on
Of course.
subject? And it's Representative Sherman was asking about the broadband project.
Mm.
And his question, I'll just read it, because I don't have the background that he has. Given the progress of the broadband project, is there a possibility some of these funds might be released and available to, say, a courthouse reserve fund?
I asked a similar question recently and I think
No.
Julie said no. That
Could you shorten that?
There will not be money left from the broadband project to transfer to anywhere.
For the record, Jerry.
Okay.
The short answer is,
All right.
Yeah, I think that you could have made it any shorter.
no, but it's a good question to ask.
I believe that gets us caught up and, IT is due next. I don't see him, but hopefully he'll be here momentarily.
could be, it's, I can go.
I would just say we appreciate the IT director that.
And then
hired.
look
And there
at
he is.
My ears were ringing.
Right over there.
Did you see him in a beer or something like that coming in?
I was just saying how much we appreciate you, which I try to tell you every time you come.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Did you want to, well, introduce yourself and then I'll have a little speech that I give to all departments.
He's already
He's not-
done it.
He's done that?
We already had that speech, him and I did.
Okay, all right. But have you had a chance to meet everybody who's sitting at the table?
I have not.
So why don't you introduce yourself?
My name's Scott Tatro. I am the IT director here. I've been here almost a year. Weeks, I guess, right? June, oh geez, it's already June now.
It's right.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Time flies. I've been working in the IT business for 20 plus years. Started out banking, went to healthcare. And now I'm at the government.
Well, so there.
Do you want to know what page you're on?
Yeah, so it looks like it's page 13, folks, for those of you who are trying to follow along in your books. All right, you gave the speech about highlights only. Thank you.
Him and I had a prep session.
Oh, there you go. That was probably,
His first meeting.
you should appreciate that, county administrator, I got that for you.
Appreciate it.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so the couple of items that I had highlighted, that kind of changes over last year's budget, is the education and conference line. I did add in some money for that.
Which is line one.
That is line 170.
Thank you.
And the reason why we added that in is it is best practice for all IT professionals to attend at least one webinar meeting offsite security awareness class. So that is why that was added in.
Okay.
Next line is 984, which is at the very bottom, and that's the software renewal line. The reason why that went up so high, or the major reason why it went up so high, is one of the major software vendors that we utilize were sold out to another company, and that company has changed their licensing. So we pay much more licensing for that product.
What company is that, if I may ask?
I'm sorry,
What company is that? What software?
the VMware.
I'm
was
sorry, speak up.
VMware,
Okay.
which was bought out by Broadcom.
Need that, right?
We do. I am looking into alternatives, for the 2028 budget season, but the next year, yeah, definitely have it.
Representative Opal.
On behalf of Representative Strickland, are there systems across county departments that are end of life or getting close to that? And any estimated cost of replacement in the next 1 to 3 budget cycles? Beyond, you have, I see you have
Yes,
equipment repair and maintenance, which
correct. Well, actually, those, most of the equipment that I have for replacement is in the new equipment line. It's not in the, repair and maintenance, which is line 970.
has also gone down substantially. It looks like.
It has gone down, yep. That number that you see there is, mainly to, replace the Windows PCs that are on Windows 10, which are no longer supported by Microsoft. So that's why you see that line item. Every successful year since then, or after this, we will be adding in additional computers to try to get our age of computers up. So right now, we do have some computers that are 5 years old, which is not preferable. I would prefer 3 years. I will settle on 4. Julie and I have had this discussion. So, each year, this number will fluctuate depending on how many machines are, necessary to replace in order to reach that. But this year's budget cycle was mainly based on those Windows 10 PCs being replaced.
Follow.
What cybersecurity measures are currently in place, and have we had any independent security assessment audit conducted recently? And I would add, have we had, I presume, attempted attacks or?
Hey, all of our security, cybersecurity is being handled by Thrive. They have a dedicated account team that, that's all they do, is check for cybersecurity. We did just move over to a, product called Sentinel-1, which I've had a lot of, use in the past, and it is very good. And speaking to as if we've been attacked, we're always trying to be attacked. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Have we been infiltrated? No. Have I gotten called by them? Not for anything like that. I do get a call occasionally, because a user asks for something that they don't think is kosher, and they want to make sure that it's okay. So the line of command is working correctly, so they do have my number, they do call me, when that happens. I am very happy with their response and with their, use of the technology that they are.
If I may ask one more follow-up, what kind of internet hygiene are employees getting in terms of making sure that they're not responding to, the
Sure.
wrong email or opening?
Right. Every year we have a, what they call a phishing, simulation, which goes out and sends an email to all users. And those users are then rated on whether or not they've actually clicked on the link. And after that, several weeks after that, and this has actually happened already this year. We do have a, email that is sent out for them to go out and actually have courses. There's three different courses that they can take to help them kind of get used to what the newest attacks are out there. And that's a very good thing, because unfortunately, phishing and ransomware is still one of the top money makers for the bad guys out there. So.
Thank you.
Well,
Anyone else? Representative Bolden.
Is there another contract for IT, or is it under one entity and you are the lead?
this is under one entity and I'm the lead.
Okay, wasn't there another IT company that we were, not like Thrive, is it Thrive or Thrive?
It's Thrive.
Okay.
He's talking about SNS.
Right.
Oh,
was
right, yeah,
turned into
SNS, yeah, SNS was bought out by Thrive.
Okay,
So SNS is no longer in the picture. Thrive is our actual
all right,
person.
thank you.
Certainly, Representative
Thank
Sellers.
you. Hopefully you didn't already answer this. I apologize for repeating the question. Telephones. Why did they go up $1,000?
Well, to be quite honest, telephones in general, if they are not electronic, are raising in price. And it is always good practice to have one, and I will always recommend, you have one analog telephone line, which is your normal plug-in telephone line. At each site, perhaps more than one. And they charge more for those now because they are not electronic. It costs them more to actually maintain them, so they charge more for them.
Okay, thank you.
It's actually not going up that much either. If you look at the current, we're at the 9 months, it's more reflective of what we're actually probably gonna spend this year.
Well, actually, it's going up 66%, so that's quite a bit. So, sorry.
But we're spending that this year, is my point.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just
It's
Wondered
reflective
why.
of actual costs,
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say.
trying to figure out why it's gone up, that's all. The second question I have is the internet access. Did you already talk about that? Okay, I'm just saying that's gone up, over 10%. I'm just wondering, are we adding more devices? What's going on there? I don't know why it's a.
We are adding the barn.
Okay.
On that. In the process of doing that, we have redone all of our, contracts. And one of the biggest things that we did was going from, in this case, we're going in the opposite direction. We were going from an analog cable, internet access to a, digital internet access, which is more stable and more reliable.
And my last question I have is on the equipment repair and maintenance. The $1,500 going up. I'm just wondering, what is that? Just anticipation or what?
No, it is it's standard percentage up. Because of the fact that pricing for the hardware goes up every year.
Okay,
So I always like to make sure that, and I don't like to use this word loosely, but I always make sure to pad stuff like that. To give you an example right now, memory, which is, obviously in every computer, is out of the roof because it can't get the parts for it. So, it's just stuff like that. Just try to keep that in check so that if we need to replace something that requires that percentage of increase that we have it, we're not just like, oh crap.
So on the same line, you've already spent out of 9 months on $4,200. Are you anticipating to spend all 8,900 that we budgeted for at this point, or?
Am I expecting to? I really wish I could tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there's bills out there that we haven't paid or something.
No, it's not on that line. No.
Okay,
But because hardware is hardware,
sure.
it's electronics, you just can't determine. Tomorrow something could break and I'd have to replace it.
I would point out too that, as an example, a external hard drive backup prices have more than tripled in the last 6 months. I mean, it's gotten crazy from $300 to $900 for the same exact piece of equipment. Those retail increases, but it's an example, John, of what's going on. And then the other thing is, I'm just curious to know, on all of our printers, I assume they're all toner printers?
Yeah, I would say the majority of them are. You're
Okay,
correct. Yeah.
because one of the things that's happening also in the industry is that the ink cartridges, which have a chip in them, the chip has a tariff and the ink prices are insane now. And so toner is a much more cost-effective way of providing a basic printer for departments. So we aren't there. But point out that maybe we should be. Okay. Representative,
And this is on my behalf, and I'm not sure whether that this is in your bailiwick, but I will raise what has been a sore point. In terms of the public being online and being able to hear everything, particularly that end of the table has been difficult, and I'm just wondering if you had worked with commissioners or talked with commissioners at all about a different system that might be more accessible hearing wise for the public that can only join online.
We have had extensive discussions about that, yes. We do not have a solution as of today. But yes, that has been brought up and we are looking.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. Anyone else? And I believe that finishes your, you got, that's it, just page 13, correct?
Yeah. Right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And
Nice meeting
welcome
you all.
to your, first effort here.
Thank you. Oh, have a great afternoon. You too.
Ready to jump in?
You guys are.
Yeah, I would just assume it's a few minutes over, but all of us, everybody at this table has busy lives and things to do.
Fair enough.
I don't need to just tell you, I don't go over every single line. Just give us the.
Give the highlights,
Yeah.
yep, sure thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
And he's gone, not joining us.
Correct. Yeah, she's,
Okay.
yeah,
I just.
back at the
saw her
nursing
name on
home.
the list.
Yeah.
Want to make sure we not waiting for her.
Yeah, she's back at the nursing home today.
And tell us page and line, and if you discuss a line, please let us know the number of the line as well.
Will do. So historically, we start with the nursing home revenue projections. So we're gonna be working on page 3 in the budget book. And for this year's budget, we started, or we predicated the numbers based on a average daily census of 124 residents. We maintained the same average daily census projection for this year as we, for this coming fiscal year, as we did for this current fiscal year that we're in. So within that, we have changed the payer mixes around a little bit. So starting off with our private pay residents, we're seeing a higher private pay census in this current fiscal year. So we are planning for a private pay census of 22 residents. And as part of this coming fiscal year as well, we're looking to increase our private pay rate by $15 per day. So the revenue number that you see there for the 5020-103 includes that increase. So we will be raising our private room rate to $370 per day and our semi-private room rate to $350 per day. For New Hampshire Medicaid, again, that census figure is kind of close to tracking to what we're currently seeing right now in this current year. So we're budgeting for 68 New Hampshire Medicaid recipients. The rate that was factored in into the budget was a decrease from what we currently are receiving right now because of what we experienced in the beginning of this calendar year with the dramatic rate reduction that we were potentially going to receive. We did end up, so not kind of understanding what the possibility of another rate cut was going to look like for us coming July 1st. We did lower our projected Medicaid rate. But I did just get confirmation that our July 1st Medicaid rate for New Hampshire is going to be $247.50, which is $1.46 more than what we budgeted for in this budget.
Excuse me, but that's a decrease from what we're getting now.
Correct.
I just, sorry to interrupt, I just wanted everyone to know that.
For Vermont Medicaid, we are budgeting a census of 22 residents. We also are going to be receiving a rate increase. We requested a rate increase last month and did receive that rate increase. So our new rate for Vermont Medicaid recipients is $575.26. And
Easy, isn't it?
There's a very strong and important message here, but keep going.
so what was, so that is factored in for our, or I'm sorry, not factored in for our this coming year's budget. So that'll be a pickup of about $48,000 for us in additional revenue. Vermont was nice enough to retroactive our request for that increase to January 1st of this year. So we are anticipating another $18,000 in revenue from Vermont with the retroactive increase back to January 1st. So
Which line item is that?
that, well, it's rolled into the room and board for
Okay,
Medicaid,
thanks.
so the 102 line.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. I don't know if you wanted to make your
Keep going.
observation. Okay, all
No,
right.
I decided to bite my tongue.
Okay. Our Veterans Administration, we are budgeting a census of 8 residents for this coming year. Our current census right now is 9, so we are also receiving not necessarily we've signed a new Veterans Administration agreement. And so doing that, they've changed the rates around. You know, it is dependent on level of care needs for the veteran. So it is an individualized rate, but the average rate that we're planning for the coming fiscal year is $545.17. And with that new contract, it did increase the overall weight scores for residents based on their care needs. So that average rate is $55 more than what we were currently receiving right now from an average standpoint. And then Medicare, we're planning on an average census of 4 residents. I believe that's a fair number for us. On average, you know, we dip down to as low as 2, or maybe 1 resident, as low as 1 resident on a Medicare program for rehabilitation. But, you know, as it stands right now, we're at 7 as of today. So, you know, throughout the course of the year, I feel like that that number of 4 is a realistic goal for us. And the average rate that we're planning for Medicare reimbursement is $655 per day. Other than that, that's kind of the census breakdown there. And then the other numbers that we typically highlight here is the 5020-108, the Medicaid Pro Share payment. So we are planning for hoping for a $1.9 million payment for this year. Julie, if you'd mentioned what our current, what we're anticipating receiving in this current fiscal year and later this month is 2.1 million. So
Our
Thank you.
initial estimate was the 1.9, which is why we decided to stay with that. Put the budget together.
And
Yes,
so what it got be for 2.6, is that correct? Okay, thank you.
We haven't, this will be the third
Third
year.
year, yeah.
Thank you.
okay, continue, yes.
And that's really the last kind of highlight there, the revenue side of things.
Okay, any questions? Moving along.
We'll go over to the expense, beginning on page 38, budget books. And beginning in the administration department, there isn't anything of note that and this might be, kind of quick, this going through the expense side of things, there's really just, kind of general increases, for salaries and benefits. We don't have any particular highlighted programs here within this department to speak about, so happy to answer any questions that people might have.
Representative?
On the administrator, it's going up 5.76. Is that a step increase along with the cost of living?
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Continuing?
Within the dietary department, you will see an increase on the food supply line, 5130-505. We are running a higher census, so there is increased food costs there.
That's page four.
Associated with, yeah.
Okay, keep going, I'm sorry.
No questions on dietary. The nursing department on page 41. We did make a reduction in our education and conference line, 5140-170. Our LNA program that we partner with White Mountains Community College for, they have reduced the price per student that they charge us within that. The new price, it was essentially, I think it was close to a 50% reduction in the price per pupil. So our charge per student now is $575, averaging the 3 classes that we typically do throughout the course of a year. So we've set aside $13,000 for those LNA classes. So that was a nice reduction to receive from them.
Representative.
Again, a couple of questions from Representative Stringham. He noted that the contract nursing for next year is budgeted 1.7, but the 26 actuals were already at 1.73 and 7 were way over.
Yeah.
Well, we're not way over 1.5.
For this current fiscal
So,
year,
right,
yeah.
so I guess his question was, what's driving the overrun, and is the budgeted number realistic, or? And I guess sort of as a follow-up is specific shifts. My understanding has always been it's the overnight shifts that are the toughest, and is there any way to try to reduce that contract number, perhaps by increasing third shift incentives for full-time people or something?
What's driving the 9-month figure is a past billing issue that one of our contracted vendors experienced. They submitted a bunch of late invoices, some dating back to last fiscal year. That to 25. Yeah. So it was, we weren't aware of these outstanding invoices. It was an issue in the office and on that, for that particular agency. So we were presented with those invoices back in April. So that's what's reflected in that number there. So I believe that the 1.7 is a realistic number for us, given where we're currently at with our own internal staffing numbers. We just completed an LNA class. So we're going to be having 6 newly licensed LNAs join us. And I believe Karen Clough in HR would be able to better speak to it. But I believe we're going to have about 2 FTEs available within the LNA line for us, which has been, we've never been that low in the time that I've been here, and probably dating back to a good number of years into Julie's tenure too. So, our staffing is doing well. So future spending within that line is looking like, yes, you're right, evenings and nights. And I think that, that 1.7, like I said, is a realistic target for us. I'm hopeful that we're going to come in under it, but I mean, realistically speaking, I think we're gonna be right at that number. What we see right now with our current contracts, we have 5 contracted nursing staff members, 2 LNAs and, I'm sorry, 3 LNAs and 2 nurses. And they are working right now, they are working the evening shift and some kind of overnight shifts as well. They do fill in some day shift openings as needed with, if there's an FMLA or vacations coming up, but the bulk of that usage is on the evening and overnight shift at this time, so. And again, I think Karen, Bluff would be able to kind of speak to it, but our shift differentials that we offer have based on research that we've done, are very competitive to area healthcare facilities. And so I don't think increasing that is really gonna be the thing that, you know, fills those remaining FTE openings that we have in nursing, for instance. So, yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to highlight the LPN program, 5140-375. We still are having a lot of interest in that. So that's the program that we created where we're affording nursing assistants the opportunity to go to school to get their LPN certification. So we have 2 current LNAs enrolled in the program right now with anticipated graduation in December of this year. And again, the point of this program is to, you know, kind of help with the contract nursing utilization. And so when they graduate and become licensed, they are going to be in exchange for a commitment of 3 years of service with Grafton County. They do work on a shift that we identify as a need. And so there's the opportunity as well to help address some of those openings that we have on the night shifts and evening shift.
So there's a commitment both in terms of how term we provide tuition assistance.
Mhm.
They in return commit to being willing to do some of the lesser desired shifts,
Correct.
shall we say,
Yep.
and a commitment of
Correct.
3 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Representative Bolton has a question.
Is there a penalty if they should just walk out the door?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, there is language in there that in our agreements that we have with them that does, depending on when that might be, compensate Grafton County back for a percentage based on, you know, when that individual might choose to leave employment. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Going over to page 42. Nothing of note there. Last 2 lines. On page 43, restorative nursing. The increase that you see there within 5141-001 for the coordinator. That coincides with the hiring of a new coordinator for the program. When the previous coordinator worked a Monday through Friday schedule. The current coordinator is doing a varied shift schedule of 2 days during the week and weekend coverage as well. So included into the new salary request there is shift differentials and weekend differentials. And some overtime built into that as well. So that explains that increase. There aren't any questions there. Over to page 44. This is our health information management department. There's no particular items on my end to discuss, so. There are no questions.
Keep going.
Page 45 within the activities department. The only thing that I would point out is our activities supply line 5145-390. We have a $2,000 increase there, and some of that is driven by just general cost increases, in particular with helium. Our helium expense is up this year, given.
Can we say straight up Hormuz?
Sounds like straight up hot air.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
Page 46 is our plant operations department, and these are the figures that Jim Oakes, the maintenance superintendent, prepares for us based on his, his work and contracting with the vendors to perform the various services. And so he provides these figures for our budget.
Representative Oval has a question.
And this may be more appropriate for Mr. Oakes, but are there capital investments that we might make that would help directly reduce operating costs?
I think that would be better suited for Jim to answer. Yeah.
It seems like,
So-
honestly, it seems like the kind of, unfairly, it seems like the kind of, and again, it's Representative String, but it seems like the kind of question maybe if we could have both of them here to sort of, because obviously there's a maintenance and operation, but having your perspective along with, okay, well, if we did this, we could, reduce this cost.
Yeah, and
Given, excuse me,
yeah.
given that I believe Mr. Oakes has already made his presentation, it would not be inappropriate to send an email to the county administrator to pass it on to him so that he can either return or send an answer back if he has thoughts about that question.
What I would share with you is that anytime the maintenance superintendent becomes aware of something that we could upgrade in order to save money, especially from a energy efficiency standpoint, we do those upgrades, we invest in that and do those upgrades, and we've saved a significant amount of money in investments in energy efficiency, so that when we have equipment that has to be repaired and whatnot, we do look for those types of, I don't know that there's any specific upcoming capital initiatives that we have that we could identify, but we do look for that.
What might be helpful then to answer Representative String's question is maybe if you've got sort of examples, what has been done.
Jim has all kinds of them.
Wonderful.
I would say one of the big benefits has been the biomass plant for the nursing home anyway, when it comes to our heating.
There's been some stuff in the kitchen and laundry
Yeah.
too that
Yeah,
have been.
yeah, the ozone,
The ozone,
yeah, for the laundry department. I just couldn't speak from an educated standpoint on, what potential projects would bring as savings. Thinking about just solar. Would that help with electricity? It would. I can't tell you exactly what the benefit would be though to that, so.
Sure.
But
And it would be with the water and light that will not allow that.
Yeah, I was just gonna, that point had to be raised that, they will not participate in helping us save any money.
Yeah.
And anyways. Okay, keep going. Thank you.
on page 47, this begins our environmental services department. So you see there's the laundry department. Page 47. There's nothing of particular note there, so. Going on to page 48 in housekeeping. The one thing that I'll mention here is 5170-002. You'll see a request for a new position to begin on June 1st of 2027. Our environmental services director is going to be retiring in November of 2027. And what we are proposing is our assistant director for the department is a working director, predominantly working in the housekeeping role. So we're hoping that with the inclusion of this position, it will allow upwards of 3 months of orientation for her to work more in depth with the director, particularly on the laundry side of the department operation, as she's not familiar with how the machines operate, potential maintenance for them. So we're hoping to give her more exposure into the laundry side of the operation. Later that year, earlier in 27 as well, our department director is going to have 41 years of experience in service to Grafton County at that point when he retires. We're also going to be losing a laundry machine operator who will at that point have 32 years of experience, I believe, in service to Grafton County. So we're talking about 70+ years of knowledge, institutional knowledge, that's going to be leaving the department within a 2-month period into the start of the next fiscal year. So we're hoping that with the inclusion of this position, we'll be able to really do a lot of orientation and training for the assistant director, who will presumably be taking over director duties for the department.
Did you say that was a 3-month overlap?
Correct. Yeah.
I just want to make sure my note was right. Thank you.
Well, assuming we were able to hire somebody right on June 1st, we would
Right.
probably be looking at,
Sure.
close to a 5-month overlap. The reality being, I don't think we're going to be able to hire that position that quickly and easily. So we're hoping for a 3-month overlap.
Okay,
So,
but it's something, if I'm asked the question, why are we hiring somebody?
Yeah.
I'll have it.
That's the idea. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. No other questions on page 49? This is our pharmacy and physician lines here. What you see there for the Med A prescriptions and veteran prescriptions, those are all kind of consolidated billing. We're responsible for for paying the costs for Medicare rehab recipients for their medications, as well as for the veterans. And then we pay that up front, and then we turn around and include that in consolidated billing to Medicare and to the Veterans Administration for reimbursement. So that's what those charges are there. Questions on that page? Over to page 50 for the contract services. And one thing that I'll mention here is 5185-235 for our contracted dietitian. You'll see the increase in this line here. It's related to the fact that we had hired a new dietitian that came in at a higher rate at the start of well, actually, it was almost at the start of this current fiscal year. So when the budget was approved for the 78,000, this person had started just at the I think it was June of last year. So we had to hire her at a higher rate, and so that's what that increase is related to there.
I'm sorry, you slightly confused me. It says contracted dietitian, but the implication of hiring is that
Correct, yes. Wrong
Okay,
choice of
correct.
words. And so we entered into a contractual agreement with
Okay.
somebody
I
else.
just want to make
that,
sure I wasn't misunderstanding.
Yeah, yeah. So what we had originally budgeted for was not enough.
Now
So,
it
yeah,
makes more sense. Okay, thank you. Okay,
and then social services department on page 51, there, again, isn't anything of particular mention here.
Um, Do you have any capital improvement? Because they're not, it's not on the data sheet, so let's go there next.
So nursing homes capital requests are on page 1 under the capital expenditure section of your budget books.
Thank you.
And the first one that I want to highlight here is the Inovalon managed care billing. So as I mentioned in the beginning, we have entered into a new agreement with the Veterans Administration. And so with that agreement, all of their billing is being done through the Optum Insurance Company. So United Health, Optum being a subsidiary of them. So this particular piece of software will allow the business office to better streamline their billing through one clearinghouse. It also serves as kind of like a scrubber, if you will, for the claims that we submit. So it will, potentially alert to any errors in the billing submission before it actually processes. So it should, in theory, speed up the reimbursement to about 2 weeks reimbursement versus what we're currently experiencing, which can be upwards of 6 to as much as 8 weeks. The next item is installation of additional panic alarms. We have several panic alarms throughout the nursing home right now that are available for staff to press in the event of a concerning situation that takes place from a safety standpoint within the nursing home. And so what we are proposing to do with these are to add 3 additional locations within the nursing home to create better coverage in the event of a concerning situation that takes place. It will allow for faster response time to push and alert the sheriff's dispatch center. The next item is grout replacement for the Granite neighborhood shower room. Particularly, this is something that the maintenance department has requested we include in our request this year. We have missing grout on one of the floors in the shower room on the Granite neighborhood. And what that is doing as water is seeping onto the floor, it's leaking down to the shower room on the Meadow neighborhood. And so it's creating water damage through the ceiling on that floor. Or I'm sorry, in the Meadow shower room. So this will be to replace that grout and reseal it so that we prevent further water damage. The next item is a Hobart conveyor type dishwasher. This will be the last, this will be a replacement of a 23-year dishwasher that we currently have. It's been in service for 23 years. And this is the last kind of major equipment piece that we're have left to replace within the dietary department. And upon replacement of this piece of equipment, we will have all new equipment within the last 7 or 8 years. So, and this is something that is in need of replacement. It breaks roughly 6 times a year, or it's out of commission and we have to go on paper. And so residents are served on paper plates and our staff are doing a lot of dishes. If you've ever been to the nursing home after a meal, there's a lot of dishes that get generated coming off the floor. So to have it down is not operationally ideal for the department.
So you're suggesting that if anybody wants to come visit and have lunch, like for other commissioners used to do in the past that they don't come when they're doing paper plate.
You might be put to work. Yeah.
Here's a sponge.
Yeah.
The next item that we're requesting is a Vitamix variable speed blender. This is a higher capacity blender that we use to mechanicalize meals for residents that have to have an altered meal diet. The next item is a Hatco Graham 40-inch Glow Ray high wattage infrared heat warmer. So we installed one of these on our Granite neighborhood over our serving table, and what it does is it allows for plated meals that are to be given to residents, whether in the dining room or in their rooms. It allows the meals to maintain temperature better, so that residents are getting hotter meals after they're plated. We had several resident concerns on the Granite neighborhood regarding cold food. And so the installation of this unit on that floor has helped eliminate those concerns. And so we're hoping to install 2 more of these units on the Maple and Profile neighborhoods as well to help there. The next item is purchase of 10 tabletops for resident dining rooms. In particular, these will be used on the Maple and Profile neighborhoods. So with a higher census, we have more residents with a higher acuity, and because of that acuity level, they're sitting in larger wheelchairs that are creating space issues within the dining rooms. We're close to, with 2 beds available on Profile and 2 on Maple, we're close to being completely full on those floors right now. And so the dining rooms are very full. And it is creating some navigational issues for residents that are able to ambulate on their own without assistance, and for staff to maneuver around. So the theory behind this purchase is that replacing our 42-inch tabletops with a 36-inch tabletop will create more space for staff and residents to navigate through during meal times. The next item is a renovation project for our staff development office. We're proposing to take our staff development office and turn it into a nursing simulation lab. And the next item below this request is for an advanced geriatric skill set trainer. Specifically, it's a nursing mannequin dummy that will afford our nurses and LNAs an opportunity to do more skills training and competency testing for our staff development director for nursing staff. The idea that combining these 2 together is that we're going to create a resident room with the renovation project. And so we're going to be able to set that space up as a standard room would appear in the nursing home, so that all the same equipment will be in there, and staff will have the opportunity to do more hands-on education in that setting. And again, we'll be able to assess competency and specific types of skills if we're admitting a new resident that perhaps has a PICC line, for instance. It's not something that we see all the time from referrals that we receive, but we do see them from time to time. So ensuring that we're able to provide more kind of in-depth training prior to an admission for somebody that might have that particular medical need, and we can make sure that staff are prepared to be able to care for residents more so ahead of admission. The next request are resident mattresses. With this request, we're looking to continue our yearly mattress replacement program. So this budget request includes 20 mattresses to replace this year in this current fiscal year. The next item is activities courtyard furniture. So we are in process of moving forward with the grant or the construction project for renovation of the activities courtyard. We did receive funding through a congressionally directed spending request from Senator Shaheen's office with that office assistance from her office. So we do have that project underway. One of the things that was not able to be included in the funding request was for furniture, so that's on our end, and so this $16,000 is for furniture for the courtyard, as well as some furniture for the front of the nursing home as well. And the last item is a piece of housekeeping equipment. So it's a scrubbing and stripping machine. So it creates essentially what it does is it creates a much more efficient process for when we strip and wax floors in the room, as well as in common areas of the nursing home. It creates for a more efficient process, and it will speed up the process as well. So when we have to do changeovers on rooms and we strip and wax rooms, we are taking rooms out of commission for a day and a half, and this will speed that process up. So in theory, will help speed up the potential for admissions as well. So those are the nursing homes capital requests for this year.
Question, if I may. One of the items that was taken out was the recliners for the common area. So my question is, for the residents, if they are able to be out in the common area more and raise their feet so that they have less fluid built up in their legs, isn't that better for their care?
It is, and we do have recliners with the intent behind this request was to create uniformity and more appropriate chairs for residents. But we do have recliners available for them.
Okay,
So it's just that when you go out onto the neighborhoods, you'll see, a mix match of recliners. The idea behind this was to kind of create uniformity across all the floors and, and have, perhaps more appropriate sizing of recliners for folks, but we do have recliners available for them.
okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Anyone else? Where are we?
Done.
All right, so, is there anyone online in the public? All right, so before I begin, last meeting, I forgot to ask if anybody from the public cared to say anything. I'm having trouble with my legislative email. I tried to send a response back to one of the persons who was upset that I not asked for the public to speak. I think we're all set.
You're good, okay, all right.
Yeah, you should get back to work. So I just wanted to offer a public apology that I did forget and acknowledge that if someone is online and would like to take their 3 minutes, we can do that. Do we have any hands raised? Pick one and let's do it.
It's Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
Mrs. Smith, I think if you can unmute yourself, it's time for public comment.
All right, I was remiss and I just wanted to give you the opportunity. We'll wait another moment or two, but.
Mrs. Smith, are you there?
She goes, I can agree.
And it's
Yeah,
all
right.
time.
Oh, she raised it.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the day.
Okay, well, if she's not there, I can't help that. I would say that then that we are adjourned.
Yes.
See you